All right, so I figured I'd perform this experiment, vlogging on the treadmill. Never used a treadmill before in my life, so I figured let's try it, see what happens. First of all, I want to say thank you for everybody that comes over here weekly to practice, train. People who come semi-weekly, people who have come regularly, will come regularly as the weather changes. Our core group that never changes, almost. Sometimes I'm here by myself. It's fine. We use the pulleys and stuff. And I'm sure all of you subscribe to see what's going on, because you're probably going to be in the video. Now, what I want to talk about today is what it's like starting arm wrestling, and what it's like talking to people who don't know what it is and will never know what it is and don't take it seriously and will never take it seriously because it's some weird, silly thing mixed with brutality, so it can't rise above where it is now and won't until it transcends silly brutality in the eyes of the many. Now, those of you who train regularly obviously don't view it that way. Pros who promote the sport don't view it that way, but somehow they're not getting the message out there that it's not silly brutality. I'll give you an example. Talking to people about arm wrestling for about a year now, a little more, and only training seriously for the last 5 months, so big difference. But talking to people for over a year about arm wrestling, I get a lot of this. Hey, did you ever see those videos with the slap contests? What the fuck is with, we're talking about arm wrestling, and now we're talking about slap contests, where people almost get their brains knocked out for who knows what reason. And it's not even a sport. Like, I don't know what that is. So somehow arm wrestling, the joining of hands and arms and body, and winning or losing with strength and strategy on a table, is equated with allowing your opponent to smack you in the head and try to dislodge the brain from the skull and being fine with that. So that's weird. Somehow our ambassadors of arm wrestling can't transcend that. That's not a dig on anybody, that's just where we're at. So the question is, how does arm wrestling transcend? Let me get this thing going a little faster here. This is a little ridiculous. Let's see, how about miles per hour? How about let's go to 2, and let's put some percent grade here. Okay, here we go. So how does arm wrestling transcend where it is, which is not higher than it should be, or not high enough for the people who are excited about it? Well, you know what else everyone says after they say slap boxing, slap contest? They say, you know, I never used to like UFC, but like now I know about it because, and then they say something really telling. It's always Conor McGregor and or Khabib. Now, I don't even watch UFC. I'm not even interested in UFC and MMA. Yet I know who Khabib is, and I know what he did to Conor McGregor. So what does arm wrestling need? Apparently, arm wrestling needs, philosophically and consciously, among the masses of this world, needs a robust personality that people can get behind, and that other people also don't like. A shit talker, like a Travis Bajan. Travis is awesome. Best shit talker ever, right? Now, you need a shit talker that gets put in his place by a quiet, serious opponent, like Khabib, right? I'm pretty sure we have that already. It's just not getting out there. So I think that's where arm wrestling needs to start. We need a personality. Out of all the people that think they're the personality, they're not. People are trying really hard. And the cool thing is you can look for them and you can kind of find them and you can see them trying. People are interested. They actually want a voice to find that can explain arm wrestling to them. I'll give you an example. Arm wrestling is something that I love introducing people to. And I don't care about winning. What's really exciting about arm wrestling is not winning or trying to win and being the winner. What's really exciting about arm wrestling is spending time on a table with a person and getting to know them as an opponent and having fun. And the best feeling in arm wrestling is when you're having fun in practice and people win and you lose and you learn why you're losing and you know why and you laugh about it and you enjoy how good your opponent is, because that's exciting. Why is this a path to making arm wrestling more mainstream? That person that wants to win against you is everywhere. And everyone who never did arm wrestling, doesn't consider themselves strong, thinks arm wrestling is beyond them. Maybe it's a little silly, maybe it's a little brutal, but maybe there's a chance that if they tried it and they tried it the right way, they will have so much fun that they had no idea that they could do it and enjoy it. That's what arm wrestling is, and that is the on-ramp. That is how you get everybody on, is you have to, what's the right word? Capitalize on that? It's a little bit more. You need to exploit that. You need to exploit the on-ramp possibility. Now, another interesting thing, I want to make this short because I cannot stand treadmills and I do not plan on being here a long time. But I figured treadmill walking is so boring, it'd be really cool if you get something else done while you're doing it. So that's what this is. Last time I only did this for 10 minutes and I had enough. So what's really cool is if you pay attention to what arm wrestling is, you start to find out the categories that the different arm wrestlers are in. So there are 4 kinds of arm wrestlers. Yeah, there's other categories, but I'm starting with these 4, and so far I like these 4. So you got your quitters. I say them first because it's weird because you don't expect it, but it's inevitable. You got your people come in, and then for whatever reason they stop, they quit. They think it's great at first. Maybe they're so strong and they didn't realize it, and they don't even know what arm wrestling is. They think it's this, and they're so good at this that one day this happens to them, and then they quit. Maybe for 2 weeks or a month, maybe forever, and then they realize they're not interested. So the next category is you got your runners. They're running away from arm wrestling. They don't quit, and they're strong, but they're not the best because they have a lot to learn, and they try it and they run away, and they try it, they run away, and they don't even think about it sometimes for a week or more, and then they're like, oh yeah, maybe I should try that arm wrestling thing, but they stick with it. And maybe over the long haul, those runners, the runawayers, they'll stick with it long enough so they become a grinder. So then there's your grinders. Your grinders don't care. They will grind it out. They learn really quick that in order to do this, you've got to make a years-long plan to stick with it, just like anything. So if you pick anything that you like and you want to get good at, guess what you have to do? You have to stick with it for at least 3 years and try to do it every single day for 3 years, for hours a day. And only then will you realize you're now at a level where you can maybe start to get good. Arm wrestling is no different. If you're not interested in putting in the time in anything, and that could be arm wrestling, well, you're not a grinder. You're a runner or a quitter. So the grinders are the people that make this sport. But then there's another category called the gifted, because not everyone is gifted. And the gifted don't even have to be a grinder. The gifted could be a runner. The gifted might quit sometime, but they're still gifted. The best is when the gifted are also a grinder. So the gifted come in and they're so strong. And the only people that can really destroy them on the table are the people who have better technique and strength that can somewhat match them. And they'll lose to those people until they don't lose, because they grind with their gift. So that's interesting. So when I see new people, I expect them to be runners and quitters, but you can kind of tell who the grinder and the gifted are immediately, and you don't have to talk about it. And you actually don't have to talk about the other ones either. You just let them do their thing, and you don't judge, and you just let them hopefully show up, because that's all it is. So today is Monday, and I usually do secondary training. So I'll do table time on a Thursday, let's say, when everybody shows up or doesn't. And then I'll, on a Sunday or Monday, do my weight pulley table training to really max out lifts and try to just get stronger at different specific angles or whatever, change my numbers, whatever. But I don't care if I'm strong. I don't care if I win. I get more joy out of seeing the gifted grinders come over here and win and get better. And I see them and I foster more of them, and I find joy in seeing all you super strong, gifted grinders come over here and do your thing. Because if you don't have a place with a couple of tables where you can stop by for 2 hours and ruin your arms for 72 hours, come over here and do it. You know, I welcome you. And I can lose. I don't really care. I don't expect to win. It's interesting because arm wrestling didn't find me through being strong. There's a lot of people who are just like, I'm so strong. You know, there's those arm wrestlers that they get past their prime, but they always have those stories. You know, when I was young, no one could beat me at arm wrestling. Those people are the worst. Because what's really funny is when you don't know anything about arm wrestling, you just sit there and believe them and listen to them. Wow, my heart rate's 50. That's great. So you sit there and you listen to them and you're like, yeah, that person's strong. I believe them. I'm not going to arm wrestle them. Then you learn what arm wrestling is and you're like, wow, I had to listen to that guy for years say how awesome he is at arm wrestling. But he never had the balls, the courage to enter a tournament and win at least a t-shirt and a plastic medallion ever from anywhere. He just went around hoping that you never find out that he's really just some local big mouth with Popeye forearms and a good wrist who only knows how to do this. That guy does not like arm wrestling what it is today. And that's why I love arm wrestling. And I'm not that guy. I come in weak. And what's interesting is, I'll tell you one last thing, and I'll get the hell off this thing, because I hate treadmills. And this is taking too long. So, what's really cool about arm wrestling is, I never was strong at anything. But I know if I trained, I got stronger at what I trained. Soon I learned that strength training and arm wrestling don't work together. You have to give up one to succeed at the other. And I couldn't give two shits about strength training because arm wrestling is purpose. You know how like some men don't have life purpose and they're depressed? Arm wrestling will give you purpose in your workouts instead of looking in the mirror and wondering how beautiful you look. So guess what I did? Stopped training all gym strength training barbell exercises completely and only train arm wrestling twice a week, and I am fine. It totally replaced it, and now it has a purpose. So I'm fine. Now, am I going to keep grinding? Yeah, I'm a grinder. Are you a grinder? Now, I want you to answer me to see if you got to the end of this, because this is ridiculous. Out of the top 10 things you think of when you first wake up every day, 1 to 10, what number is arm wrestling? Is it 1? Is it 10? Does it not even make the top 10 things you think of when you wake up? Let me know.